All right, so I'm gonna be going live with Tracy Reeder. We're gonna do it at noon, but kind of push it to 12:30. So I'm gonna bring him on here in just a moment. He's an up and coming fighter from my area, and probably see him in the UFC pretty soon if he keeps winning fights. Diesel. All right, Tracy, what's up, man?
How's it going, big dog?
Good. I appreciate you taking time to do this.
I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the area, actually. I live in Coweta, I kind of grew up in Broken Arrow, but I've kind of traveled around. But for people that may not be familiar with you, maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit.
I mean, Tracy Reeder from Claremore, Oklahoma, the best 155er in the area, the only one that is cool, funny, handsome, and can fight his ass off.
Now, I did a little research on you. I saw that you were kind of wrestling in Claremore, and then you went to UCO, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Man, I've been wrestled since I was 4 years old, with kind of the pretense that I always knew I would be fighting, and after high school, well, what's the next thing? Go wrestle in college, and was really unhappy there, and I think that affected my performance a little bit, and ended up leaving, and was actually supposed to transfer to a different school, but just ended up fighting, and here we are, doing what I was born to do.
Now, when you said you kind of had the pretense that you always intended to fight, when did that idea first pop in your head?
Man, so the way I got started into wrestling was when I was 4 years old. I was super into WWE, and but I called that wrestling, Mm-hmm. So my parents were like, "Hey, would you like to wrestle?" I'm looking at the TV. I'm like, "Shit, throw me in there," and then quickly discovered that's not what I was doing, and was pretty upset about it, and don't really know why I had to continue doing it, but then I stuck with it. And then maybe around the age of like 7 or 8 years old, my maybe a little older, maybe 9, 10, my dad showed me the UFC and was like, those guys you're watching in the WWE are not the real toughest dudes in the world. These guys are the toughest dudes in the world. So I think that was as soon as I made the shift. I just wanted to be known as the toughest dude in the world. So, oh, that's what that is? Okay, well, I want to do that then.
So your dad was already kind of into the UFC?
Yeah, a little bit. He, he showed me, I can't remember the first guy he showed me. It was either Matt Hughes or maybe it was a Chuck Liddell fight. I think it was Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture, the one that Couture won. Mm-hmm. And my dad, Randy Couture is a really good wrestler. He won that fight, 'cause even though he knocked him out, I'm pretty sure. He's like, he won that fight because he's a better wrestler. So I was like, fuck, like if I want to do that, I've got to get good at wrestling then. And I didn't even, I barely liked wrestling. So I was like, shit, this is a necessity, I guess. And so, yeah, he didn't probably know he was planting the seed in my head to be a professional fighter. Otherwise, he probably would have never showed me that. But yeah, he planted the seed. Honestly, I owe it to him.
When did you get into your first gym? Was it while you were wrestling?
Man, so I had just quit at UCO, and I actually signed to go wrestle. I had a year left that I was eligible to do junior college wrestling. So I signed to a junior college in Kansas, and I moved back to Claremore. And I hadn't been on the mat in 6 months. And I start wrestling again and re-fall in love with the sport. But I can't find anybody to wrestle with me. Anybody. I mean, I want to wrestle every day. I can't find people that want to wrestle every day in the off season. And this guy in Claremore, Larry Paycheck, my coach now, he heard about me and shot me a message. Says, "Hey man, like, you come in and teach us a little bit of wrestling. We'll work out with you. It won't be wrestling, but we'll roll with you and do jiu-jitsu." And so I walked into Paycheck Martial Arts in July of 2019. And I think I knew my first day, I'm not going to school. I'm not going to wrestle. This is what I want to do. And I always knew I would do it. I figured it'd be after college wrestling, but it just seemed like the time was then. The time was now, you know.
Yeah, it is a little weird. I think people think there's a lot of guys wrestling in the scene in Tulsa and the surrounding areas, like from the MMA scene, but there's really not. You know, I would say there's way more jiu-jitsu guys and only a handful of really good wrestlers. You know, it's a little,
Right.
I think people kind of have the wrong idea about the scene here.
Well,
You would think there'd be a lot, but it's not really that way.
A lot of wrestlers are almost, I mean, they're living in 2005, you know what I mean? Oh, I can wrestle. Wrestling will be enough, you know? And then when it's not, they're totally fucked, or they're totally just, you know, they're not open-minded. A lot of wrestlers I know don't want to learn jiu-jitsu. I know how to wrestle. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, it complements each other very well if you learn them both.
Now, how long did you train before you started looking to have your first fight?
Man, I was that wrestler that was like, day one, I'm ready. So I told my, hey, I'm ready, dude. Like, throw me in the cage. And he was like, well, let's give it at least 6 months. He said, let's give it at least 6 months. And he told me what I needed to do for him to feel comfortable putting me in there. And I did everything he asked, man. And about 6 months later, he threw me in the cage. You know, at the time, our gym didn't have a striking coach, though. So I didn't have a striking coach. And I just got really good at jiu-jitsu and, you know, was kind of training myself on the striking end. And you know, he threw me in there. About 6 months later, I made my debut, amateur debut, February 2020.
How many amateur fights do you have?
I had 7.
So you had 6 pro and then 7 amateur fights?
I have 5 pro, about to have my 6.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So those amateur shows, like, looking back on it, what was your experience over maybe those, I don't want to like take each fight, but maybe overall as you were doing the amateur fights and you're ready to turn pro kind of?
You know, I grew up competing in front of a crowd. So that wasn't really like an issue for me, getting in front of people. That's actually my favorite part. I'm such an attention whore. So I love when the eyes are on me and the attention's on me. But I think just getting in there and like, oh shit, like I'm in a fight, getting to the point where it's like when the fight was over, it's like, damn, do I even remember it? You know what I mean? But then like I started getting comfortable in there and my fights feel like sparring and you know, I just got to a point where it felt like it was time to go pro. Learned so much, got humbled even. But with the humbling came necessary growth and actually more confidence and self-belief.
So was it more your decision or your coach's decision as far as when you turned pro?
Man, if it would have been my decision, my first fight would have been pro. That's how.
Right.
That's how. Maybe a sense of false confidence I had. Of course, I mean, I was good. I just nowhere near to the level I was at whenever I went pro. You know, it was right to wait, but it was my decision. You know, it wasn't just my decision or just my coach's decision. You know, I talked it over with the team and we all felt pretty good about it. And man, it was the right choice. You know what I mean? 5-0, 5 finishes, about to be 6-0 with 6 finishes. And then after that, 7-0 with 7 finishes. And I mean, until I feel like stopping, you know what I'm saying? At least that's the deal.
Right. And you're fighting in Dale's show, right? XFN.
Mm-hmm.
So how many fights have you done in that one? Was all your fights there? Or?
All of them besides 2 of my fights. I just fought May 13th at River City Promotions in Muskogee and in Bartlesville.
So who are you fighting June 24th?
Well, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, so they don't have an opponent for you still?
Well, I don't know if I should be,
Oh, okay. No, that's
you know,
fine.
because we had an opponent in mind, but the opponent in mind, I don't want to say anyone's name because I don't know the reason. It's not like he agreed and then backed out. It's just the opponent in mind that we all thought would say yes said no. So back to the drawing board. But they've got some people in mind and they'll figure it out. They always do.
So you're confident they'll have someone.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about who the someone is. I'm coming in to fight a nameless, faceless opponent and to beat his ass and just make me look even more awesome.
So I know you said you're kind of an attention seeker. That's probably why you and Jared kind of fell in. Which one started that first, do you think?
What?
Which one started that first between the two of you?
Man, we the way we actually met, he wrestled for Owasso.
Oh yeah.
And we're the same age, and I was pretty good when I wrestled for Claremore. He was not very good when he wrestled for Owasso. But I remember he was in the back, and maybe he remembers it a little better than I do. We were in the back of the Perry wrestling tournament. He's going around asking kids if he could stay at their house or with their team because his coach had forgot to book him a hotel room, which is not true. And most kids are kind of like, didn't know how to deal with his antics. They were like, I don't know. Like, ask my team, I guess, or whatever. Or be like, whatever, dude, you're full of shit. But when he asked me, I go, yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a done deal. You stay with us. I've lived 30 minutes from here. You're with me tonight. And kind of gave him a little back. And I think we've just been friends ever since. Not as close in high school as we are now. But we train together every day now. But, yeah, I don't know. We've both just kind of always been like that. But he's a little brother to me. Maybe even a dare I say nephew, like a little nephew to me. I love that guy, like a little nephew.
So the two of you, your antics, like who's the one who's saying he's always been like that is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think we both have. Like, it's and lucky for us, it just translates to our sport well. And a lot of guys, well, first of all, a lot of guys are lacking fucking skill. But even if they do have skill, they maybe don't have any personality whatsoever. So for us, it really makes us stand out. But I think like in my friend group and probably his friend group, like everybody's just funny and interesting. Like it's just really been who we've always been, Now
he's in LFA. Are you like looking to go to LFA or just kind of continue fighting here until something comes along?
Man, I just whatever comes along, bro. A cage anywhere. That's where you can see me. A cage anywhere for anybody, I think that with our records, I'm 5-0, he's 6-2. We're both looking to get off of the local scene, relatively soon. We're kind of in maybe a race even. But
how did he end up in LFA?
Huh?
How did he end up in LFA?
Man, he blew the right people. That's all it is. And I'm just not willing to suck a dick.
So he had connections with somebody, or?
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure how he got it all set up, but he did. And I'm happy for him. My time will come soon enough. But yeah, I'm not really sure. You'll have to ask him. But I mean, he's gonna go in there and do what he always does. He's gonna beat whoever's ass and advance.
Do you know if his fight fell through, or is it still?
His original opponent, I'm pretty sure, backed out, got hurt or something. They've got a replacement. I don't know if I'm supposed to announce it, nor could I,
don't,
because I don't remember his name. But I think they've got something lined up for him.
Yeah, because I saw some comments and it looked like maybe the guy he was talking about fighting, Julius Holmes. Maybe it sounded like that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, he backed out.
Yeah, no wonder he wasn't announcing anything on his social media. That's probably why.
And that's what I'm talking about, man. These guys, and I know he's touched up on this recently in an interview. These guys are not promoting their fights. They're not interesting or funny. Nor if they even tried to promote their fights, would they be able to do it in an interesting or cool manner? But yeah, it's always a bad sign when you see your opponent's not posting. It's like, does this guy really plan on showing up?
Now, let's talk about kind of like, do you guys try to one up each other or stuff since you train together all the time, as far as your antics go?
Yeah, man, we have a lot of fun. I wouldn't say we're trying to one up each other per se, as maybe he's just trying to get like on my level, you know. You haven't him today, yeah, or sometime?
I was going to, but I was going to yesterday, but I guess he couldn't do it.
I've talked to him today. I think he's planning on talking to you, but not a very good move by me to go first. Let him see this and get the last word. You know what I mean? He'll probably be coming with some heat.
But I mean, do you guys say, hey, maybe we should try to do this on social media or that?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're bouncing ideas off of each other, and not just me and him. You know, our whole team really. I think. Maybe we're just the ones who take the promotion side a little more seriously. But it's not even that I take it serious. I genuinely think this is fun.
So your whole team's kind of in on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to fit in with us, you're gonna be cool and interesting. Like, that's just how it is, I guess.
So you don't have anybody, like, how would it be if you're fighting someone who you know, like a lot of guys are kind of, they're not really, maybe they're a little more old school. They don't say it, you know, they don't talk too much. Would that be difficult for you when you're, I mean, I know right now, like XFN doesn't have a lot of press conferences and stuff like this, but is it hard for you to fight someone who's not really all that engaged in that?
I mean, it's not, first of all, it's not hard for me to fight anybody. Hey, this is easy for me to fight somebody. But it is maybe a bit frustrating. It would be interesting to see, because I've never had anyone, build a fight or really. I mean, it just shows a lack of confidence to me when somebody's not. I'm not saying you got to sit there and bash somebody, but build yourself for sure. You know what I mean? I'm awesome, and I'm gonna let you know that I'm awesome. You know, but the rest of these guys aren't doing it, and to me, I'm just like, do you not believe that you're awesome? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So kind of let's talk about your fights, like your pro fights, maybe not each one, but let's say kind of as you're developing. I know you've been from what I've seen, a lot of your fights, you're ending them on the ground, kind of pounding guys out for the most part, or choking them after you pounded them a little bit. How do you feel like you're kind of developing as you're going through these fights?
Man, you wouldn't maybe see it so much from my fights, but I'm feeling way more comfortable and confident on the feet. On the ground, I really feel untouchable. But man, I think my control, my comfortability in there, my control, that fight I had where I went 14 and a half minutes was so huge for my development. I'm just so comfortable in there. My ground and pound, I'm getting so comfortable. But these guys, I'm just mugging them on the ground. You know, I truly believe everybody I fought, I could outstrike. But God, I can just mug these dudes on the ground, and it's definitely the path of least resistance. And to take no damage is sweet, because when you take no damage, you can fight April 22nd and then fight again May 13th. You know what I mean? And be super active. And
because you see a lot of wrestlers, as they go on, like guys in the UFC, they tend to fight more on the feet, it seems. So your mentality, I always liked that about guys that did that, that still use the wrestling, still imposed. Why not? You spend all this time doing it. Why not?
Well, and I think what separates me too, and maybe even makes me entertaining, I'm not just looking to lay on these guys. I'm very much working for the finish. I'm I'm not trying to fucking chill. I don't want to fight anybody for 15 minutes or 25 minutes. I want to preferably beat them up early and get out of there. So I'm not laying and praying per se. You know what I mean? I'm going for the finish. And, you know, as I reach a higher level, like you said, maybe the UFC, maybe these guys, you know, maybe they're a little bit stronger grapplers and I have to fight them on the feet a little bit longer. But sweet, then I get to show you guys, you know, what I got. You know, I'm excited for that challenge, you know.
But I mean, the guys come from Russia, like Dagestan, Chechnya. These guys are putting guys on the ground. Why do you think American guys aren't doing it as much?
Because they are dumb as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, but kind of elaborate on it. Why do you think? Because you see some of them, they get takedowns, but they're struggling to kind of keep guys down, unlike guys like Makhachev and, you know, guys.
I think a lot of it is somebody gets in their ear and says, you gotta stand with these guys, right? Everybody experiences that and maybe falls into that. Or maybe they're not working enough on jiu-jitsu to know how to ride in MMA, because it's not the same as riding somebody in wrestling. And a lot of the wrestlers I know have this ego. I don't need to learn jiu-jitsu. And I'm curious, you know, maybe other guys are falling into that pattern where they're not as well versed as some of these Russian guys that very much know jiu-jitsu and know how to ride in an MMA contest, you know, and from the different positions, you know, there is no mount and guard and half guard in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a bit different.
But from your experience, I mean, you've wrestled all your life, basically. You know, I heard Chael Sonnen say, like, just because a guy's a good wrestler doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get on top in MMA. So from your experience, why do you think that is?
Man, I don't know, because it's not that hard. Like,
oh, really?
I mean, I would say I would probably be a better MMA wrestler than a normal wrestler if I was just to wrestle a wrestling match. I mean, everything's different when fists are coming back. You know what I'm saying? And you know, also the sport is not the same as it was 10 years ago. These guys can fucking wrestle. Like the guys that have never wrestled, that didn't grow up wrestling, are learning how to wrestle. You know, these strikers are learning how to wrestle, defensively at least, you know. So when the fists are coming back at you and you shoot that first takedown and they stuff it, and it fucks with your head, I guess.
His reasoning was, he was saying not everybody in wrestling is great at the takedown. Some of these guys are good defensive wrestlers. It's not like all of them are getting hundreds of takedowns, you know. Some guys are really good at getting on top and others aren't, you know. And that's what he said. I think MMA fans have a misconception that all wrestlers are great at getting on.
In a wrestling match, you are engaging with somebody who wants to wrestle you. Like, you don't have to create an engagement. The engagement is created. You know, these guys are tying up with you. These guys are shooting in on you. Yeah, that's a great point, you know, where you have to grab a hold of someone who is moving away from you and is trying to kick your fucking head off, you know? So, so many more variables. And if you weren't a good offensive wrestler, then yeah, you're gonna have some trouble in MMA for sure.
Now, when you've had these fights, you said it seemed like it's pretty easy for you to get on top of these guys. So far, you don't feel like you've met much resistance. You did have one fight that went longer, you said. Why did that one go longer, you think?
Man, I don't want to make any excuses or take anything away from him. That was my third pro fight. I had COVID when I fought that fight. But don't tell anybody. Keep that between me and you. But he was a good wrestler. You know, he wrestled in college as well. He was a big athlete. You know, he missed weight. He actually fought again. We fought at supposed to be 155. We fought, I think, at 159 or something dumb, like pulled the last 4 pounds, idiot. But his next fight was at 190 pounds. So, which is a weight that I cannot get up to. You know what I mean? So, he's a big guy who is also a wrestler. And I think even though that was just in February, the Tracy Reeder you're looking at now would dust the Tracy Reeder that fought that fight. You know what I mean? COVID or no COVID. But no COVID. Don't tell anybody that there was COVID.
Now, you're doing some training at Clinch also, right?
I train at Paycheck Martial Arts, Trinity Martial Arts, and Clinch Martial Arts. I train at those 3 gyms. Yeah, I'm at Clinch a lot with our boy Jared and the guys.
Now, yeah, I noticed that. Like, a lot of the fighters that are having success in Tulsa are coming from Clinch. Is he just bringing in a lot of these guys, or?
No. We're genuinely training different. Learning real techniques, not getting in there and doing an empty workout and wasting our fucking time like a lot of these guys are. Not to bash anyone else in the community or name any names. It's just, I wouldn't be there if I didn't think we were on some, if we weren't doing better stuff, I wouldn't be there, So it has nothing to do with any of us already being good. We're just training a lot fucking smarter. I mean, it really. And consistently, and training consistently. Any one of us from that team will have a fight and will be at the gym the next day. That doesn't sound like for sure. Don't suck our dicks about that, because that's what we should be doing. But these other guys are not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different consistency and a different level of intellect, I would say, in our camps.
I mean, does he have a fight team part of Clinch, or?
Huh?
Does he have a fight team part of Clinch? It's not all like just you guys are training in the classes, so to speak.
Yeah, we definitely we'll jump in the jiu-jitsu class and stuff like that for sure, but we definitely have our own MMA session going on. There might be something else, a boxing class going, or a jiu-jitsu class, and we're over there doing MMA specific stuff.
And
so
how
we're definitely on stuff.
How many guys is it?
Man, I don't know. We've had sometimes maybe there's only 4 of us in there, just depending on everybody's schedule, but sometimes there's 10, sometimes there's 12. If I had to say a core group, there's me, Jared, Ryan, Hoover, Kara, Greenwell, Sean Gustafson or Gustafson. I don't even know how to say Sean's name. I love that bastard. Tater is in there. That would probably be you wouldn't know these guys, but Jordan and Zach Rodriguez, they're about to hit the amateur scene. That would be the guys that are in there consistently, I would say.
Now, what about at your main gym in Claremore?
Man, we've got me. We've got a lot of good guys in jiu-jitsu. Maybe not so many MMA fighters. We have an amateur. His name is Seth, and some guys looking to make their amateur debut very soon. But the jiu-jitsu is where it's at there, and then at Trinity, it's Coach Mike. Man, he's the guy who handles my striking. I haven't lost since I started working with Coach Mike, back as an amateur. And
so in Claremore, you're getting kind of more like maybe jiu-jitsu, and then Trinity more striking, than Clinch MMA.
Yeah. And at Claremore, we bring different guys in on our sparring days and stuff, and have a real good open door policy. So, I mean, I'm getting MMA there too. And at Trinity, I mean, I'm getting MMA. Everything I do is MMA specific, I'm always thinking about MMA. So even if I'm in jiu-jitsu, it's okay, but MMA, you know what I mean? I'm not, playing the jiu-jitsu game, I guess, per se. I'm never in a gi, But yeah, MMA specific work at Clinch, mostly striking at Trinity, and mostly jiu-jitsu in Claremore.
Do you guys try to pressure you into training in the gi?
Huh? Oh.
You guys try to pressure you into that?
Well, in the beginning, I was told you got to learn both. You know, that's what everybody's told.
Yeah.
And I'm just there because me not being a dumb guy, I can critically think. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna wear a gi in there though. You know what I'm saying? So in the beginning, I was pressured, and I would say it even maybe served its purpose in the beginning. But yeah, they joke about it all the time and try to pressure me into the gi, but that's nonsense. And guys that are guys that know me are no longer trying to pressure me into the gi work because they know it's a waste of breath.
Yeah, I always felt that way too. Like, it's just, you know, what's the point, you know? But
it was always like, I just don't have as much fun. It's, right. I love it. And I love rolling in the gi, but you know what I love more? Rolling without it. Like, it's what it's always been. It's very simplistic, but it's just like, well, I have fun doing this, and I don't have as much fun doing that, so I will probably not do that.
Right. It'd make you not want to go train if you had to do that all the time.
It's not even that it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. It's just, man, I'm wearing this thing. I could take this thing off right now and increase my level of fun. It's just, I mean, yeah, I would look forward to gi days way less than no gi days.
No, let's talk about training, because I've heard you talk about training smarter and things like that. And I know you may not want to give away some of what you're doing to other people, but maybe talk about something you're willing to give away or something you're willing to talk about in that area.
Man, we're just not dumb. Plain and simple, like, we're just not dumb. A lot of guys are dumb. We're not dumb. You know, I think just treating mixed martial arts as its own sport, not, okay, today we're going to work on our kickboxing, and then today we're going to work on our jiu-jitsu. But chaining it all together, really mixing the martial arts. And I know it sounds dumb and like that everybody would be doing that, but I think a lot of guys are like training like singular martial arts and then just, I'll combine this all, you know, but you have, it's just 2022. It's not 2005 where you hear Chael talk about, I went to the jiu-jitsu gym and then I drove across town to the best boxing gym. And then I go to the Muay Thai gym after. It's not, MMA is its own sport. You know what I mean? You have to train it as such. At least we believe and you know, we're not doing a whole lot of losing. So kind of proof's in the pudding. Like, maybe we're onto something, you know, maybe the 20-year-old kids in the area are onto something that maybe a lot of the older guys around here are not on.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You know, like, even I think back in the day, they were doing that a lot, like at Mikey Burnett's gym and stuff, trying to combine. But I think now it's almost like it's reverted back to what you're talking about, where there's a lot of gi emphasis and, you know, gyms just, and I get it, they're trying to have more students or whatever, you know, but I'm right along the lines with you, man. To me, that's what makes sense. But you know how you have the business sense and then you have this, you know, it's
right.
It's always hard to convince people, you know, that it's 2022. Why aren't we doing, no one's going into the gym today because they saw someone in a gi in the UFC, you know?
Right.
But for some reason, a lot of the gyms still want to have that. I guess they feel like they can't have students unless they have that, you know?
And I mean, it for sure serves its purpose. And there is a demographic of people that want to train in the gi. And I'm not hating on that. For sure, offer gi classes. But like, if your fight team is in the gi 3 times a week, and most of these guys also, we're getting 2 or 3 sessions in a day. We are fortunate that we can do that and have the time. Some guys are only get 1 session in a day. And if that 1 session, if 3 times a week, your 1 session of the day is gi jiu-jitsu and that's it, and you don't get to work any mixed martial arts, you just, I mean, you're neglecting other parts of the game, you know?
Mm-hmm. Now, so some of the guys, when you're competing in XFN and stuff, you see other guys out there, you just don't feel that they're maybe on your level as far as what they're doing, or
And there's great fighters in the area for sure. But I think if you ask anybody who has any self belief, will say, yeah, I'm better than those guys. You know, truly there's great guys around here, and I do think I'm on another level, and you know, my trajectory is on another level. You know, but I'm super confident in our training. I'm super confident in my coaches and my teammates, and I wouldn't be confident if I didn't have the skills. I don't have empty confidence. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are confident for no reason. They're just fucking dumb. But I remember not being so confident, and now I am confident. And the deciding factor is I got better. I gained some skills. You know what I'm saying?
so Jared, his confidence and your confidence, is his confidence the same because he's as skilled as you, or?
Yeah, it is solely because we're fucking good at fighting. Like that's what it is. And if I wasn't good at fighting, I would not have so much confidence. Same with him. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I was trying to set you up to pick on him a little bit, but
Dude, come on. I've done enough. But
so as we're kind of winding down the interview, like maybe you could say, why should someone watch your fight more than Jared's?
Well, because for one, if you are pressed for time, Todd, if you are pressed for time and you don't have that much time, you can bank on it that I'm going to get a sweet finish in the first round. This guy sometimes will, you know, like his last fight, 2 rounds, the only time I've went over 2 rounds in my pro career was whenever I had COVID. And I heard from a little birdie that maybe I was dared to lose those first 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So, I think if it came down to it, you'd want to watch me because I'm going to get it done quicker and get it done better and cut a sweeter promo on the mic after than this guy would. Though he is pretty nice with it.
But I mean, he has the hair and all that. You know, that's kind of a.
It's a toupee. That I'm not joking. That's a toupee.
Just the top part.
All of it. It's all a toupee. Ask him to take it off when you interview him. He'll take it off.
I mean, it does draw attention, just his haircut alone.
Yeah, for sure. He looked like a little nature boy in there, huh? A little Ric Flair.
I don't think anyone else has that look.
And I think that's very much what he is going for. Yeah, it is. It's an interesting. Everybody talks about it. You know what I mean? That's why he did it. Everybody talks about it. Very smart. And now it's like, oh, if I want to do it, I can't. I'll be copying him. You know what I mean? So good on him. Maybe I go blonde with the beard.
Yeah, like Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah. Just like Hollywood Hogan. Maybe I go Hollywood Hogan. Catch me with a blonde beard, June 24th, XFN River Spirit Casino.
Now, Hulk had, but Hollywood had the black beard.
And he have a
blonde with black. Yeah.
Like a blonde handlebar and the rest was black, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, not a bad move.
Yeah, if you ever go to Clearwater, Florida, like Hulk has his own store down there, and he's got a bar and grill right next to it, and he's like does Monday night events and Thursday events.
Okay, yeah.
It might be up your alley. I was down there last August. I didn't even know that Hulk Hogan was from Clearwater, Florida. Like, my wife, she has some family near Tampa, and I was walking around. I saw this giant statue of Hulk Hogan, you know, in the middle of the beach walk. And I was like, what the hell, you know? Why would someone put this here? And behind it, he had his memorabilia shop, like, just full of crap, you know? And then next to it, he had this bar and grill, like Hogan's Hangout, you know? And they have, like, Monday night karaoke where him and Jimmy Hart and these other guys are out. I guess there's a lot of pro wrestling guys in Tampa.
Well, good on them for having something to do after their athletic careers, you know what I mean?
So that might be your alley if you ever want to go down there.
Dude, I'll bring Trace Mania down there.
Now, as we're kind of winding down the interview, maybe you could let people know, about your fight coming up, where they can follow you, that kind of stuff.
June 24th, River Spirit Casino. I don't know if you saw my last video. It is for the title. Every one of my fights is for the title, and I defend my Tracy belt every time I get in there. So June 24th will be for the title. I will be defending my title, getting my 6th finish and my 6th professional fight. It's going to be fucking sweet. June 24th, River Spirit Casino. I think I already said that. You can follow me at Tracy_Reader on Instagram and Twitter. But on Twitter, you can't tell. If you look at it, it's 2 underscores put together because some asshole had already taken 1_Reader. And then on Facebook, Tracy Reader.
It's probably Jared that took the 1_ on Twitter.
Let me find that out. Let me find out it was him.
Yeah. The Tracy belt, maybe have you ever thought about putting something on it to distinguish that it's yours?
Man, this asshole, Jared, makes a belt with his initials on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, what am I going to do? But it's, maybe June 24th, there might be a real belt presented to me from the promotion. But
maybe with your face on
it. Maybe so. It'll be like one of those old John Cena ones. It's gonna spin. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a spinner belt. Hey, maybe I do that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, Tracy, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Obviously, I can't do this stuff without people like you that are willing to do it. And I'd love to have you back sometime. Maybe after you win your fight or whatever, or whenever you want to come back, or maybe you and Jared together. Maybe I'll see if I can spin you guys up.
We were talking about it at the gym this morning. I said I had to do this, and he was saying he was going to do it. And I was like, should we do it together? Because, we are Oklahoma MMA's DX. You know what I'm saying? He's Shawn Michaels. I'm for sure Triple H. But, we talked about doing it, but I don't know. He was being all weird about it. So I was like, all right, fuck it then. I don't want to do it to you.
He probably thought you were going to overshine him or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's got something planned he wants to do by himself. So I'll be looking for that interview to come out for sure.
Yeah, I'll see if I can spin him up a little bit. All right, man. It was great talking to you. I appreciate it, and it's great meeting you. And look forward to having you on again sometime.
Hell yeah, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.